Welcome back to our journey through the fascinating world of That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime's Light Novel. Let's continue from the last part, where we left.
Laplace, beaten and bruised, reported to his master, a boy with black hair and a strong presence. Despite Laplace's complaints about his injuries, the boy remained calm and asked if Laplace had discovered anything about the Western Holy Church. Laplace admitted he found nothing, but the boy suspected he was hiding something. The boy then introduced Kazalim, disguised as his secretary, and instructed her to maintain her facade in public. Kazalim, once a powerful demon lord, now accepted her diminished status. Laplace then revealed his findings about the church, explaining its influence and the mysterious magic he encountered in its inner sanctum. He felt something was off about the church's relationship with Lubelius, hinting at a deeper complexity behind their alliance. The Western Holy Church was strong because of Hinata, who trained knights to protect the weak. But it was tricky, as the knights were loyal to the god Luminous in Hinata, not just the church. The church was supposed to spread luminism, but now it also helped the weak, which made things complicated. The Imperial Guard, under the Holy Emperor, was another powerful force connected to the church. Hinata controlled both the knights and the guard, making her very influential. Laplace found the church's inner workings puzzling and felt frustrated. When he explored the church's holy mount, he encountered strange magic and a powerful being who attacked him. Barely escaping, Laplace realized the church's secrets might be more dangerous than he thought. He shared his experience with his companions, Kazalim and the boy, wondering about the mysterious magic-born creature he encountered and its connection to the church's power. The boy nodded in surprise at Laplace's encounter with a powerful foe named Valentine, who Kazalim confirmed to be a dangerous demon lord. Laplace explained that Valentine's strength surpassed his own, making him feel like a mere insect in comparison. Kazalim, drawing from her memories, recounted her clashes with Valentine, emphasizing his ruthless nature and unlikely alliance with humans. The boy speculated about the possibility of Valentine being the Holy Emperor, considering his immense power and disdain for humanity. Despite doubts, they agreed that Laplace's encounter provided valuable intelligence, with the boy already planning their next move against the Holy Church, unfazed by the presence of a demon lord among their enemies. Laplace asked about Clayman's whereabouts, prompting the boy and Kazalim to discuss their recent failed plan involving Milim and Clayman's scheme in Pharmus. Despite initial success, Milim's intervention led to unforeseen consequences, leaving their plans in shambles. Kazalim lamented the loss of souls they hoped to collect and the failure to awaken Clayman to his full potential. Laplace suggested drawing out the demon Lord Valentine by convening the Walpurgis Council, which intrigued the boy and Kazalim as a way to advance their investigation. They decided to send Laplace back to the mountain to gather more information, ignoring his reluctance and focusing on refining their plan. Clayman had gained control over Kazalim's lands after Kazalim lost to the demon lord Leon. Combining their territories, Clayman became one of the wealthiest demon lords, skillfully managing his money and trading with other kingdoms to bolster his strength. He used his riches to attract and manipulate other magic-born, building a vast network of allies across the world. Clayman's ultimate goal was to rule over the entire world, and he was halfway there. However, he knew he lacked the power to achieve his ambition and sought to remedy that. His plan involved using Milim, a mighty magic-born, to gain the strength he needed. Despite his success so far, Clayman felt a sense of urgency to increase his power even further, leading him to consider drastic measures like attacking innocent people to trigger his full transformation into a demon lord. Laplace, a member of his inner circle, voiced concerns about Clayman's reckless approach, but Clayman remained confident in his ruthless methods. As Clayman devised his next move, Laplace questioned the sudden death of one of their trusted allies, prompting Clayman to reveal his plan to manipulate the situation to his advantage, regardless of the consequences. Laplace was concerned when he heard that Murin had passed away, but Clayman seemed unaffected. He explained that Murin's heart had turned to ash, indicating her death. Laplace felt saddened by Clayman's indifference, noticing how much he had changed since becoming a demon lord. Clayman dismissed Laplace's concern, focusing on his plans for the future, even though Laplace had reservations about their risky actions. Laplace tried to warn Clayman about the dangers of relying too much on Milim's power, but Clayman brushed off his concerns, confident in his abilities. Despite Laplace's efforts to reason with him, Clayman remained determined to pursue his course of action, leaving Laplace feeling uneasy about their plans. As Laplace left, Clayman's anger boiled over, leading him to break a glass in frustration. He then reassured himself with a mask, Determined to achieve his goals and seize control of the world, Rimuru decided to defeat Clayman as a first priority, believing it would prevent any schemes from unfolding and also help solidify their position as a demon lord. Meanwhile, Fuse from Bloomond arrived with troops ready for battle, but Rimuru had to break the news that the war was already over, thanks to their recent victory. Fuse was shocked but eventually accepted the truth, while his soldiers were relieved to hear they wouldn't be fighting. As Fuse was about to leave, Gazelle Dwargo, the Dwarf King, arrived unexpectedly, adding to the unfolding events. Rimuru noticed his magic sense skill had upgraded to Universal Detect, giving him a broader view of his surroundings. With this enhancement, he could even identify familiar faces from afar, but the constant stream of reports became overwhelming. He asked Raphael, his skill, to filter out only threats. Soon after, Pegasus Knights led by Gazelle Dwargo approached, surprising Rimuru. Gazelle inquired about Rimuru's new status as a demon lord, leading to a tense moment with Fuse, who demanded an explanation. Trying to avoid a lengthy discussion, Rimuru briefly explained his demon lord status. Meanwhile, Gazelle questioned Rimuru about the disappearance of Pharma's forces, prompting Rimuru to realize the political implications of revealing the truth. Fuse, overwhelmed, agreed to forget the conversation, while Diablo offered to alter memories to maintain secrecy. Despite some reluctance, Fuse insisted on joining Rimuru's meeting, determined not to be left out of important discussions. Rimuru agreed, emphasizing his goodwill toward humanity. Rigard guided Fuse to a waiting room, while a larger meeting hall was prepared for the dwarven contingent. Gazelle expressed distrust towards an unfamiliar group, which turned out to be envoys from the sorceress dynasty of Thalion. Despite the tense atmosphere, there seemed to be no clear hostility. When Errol, a member of the Thalion group, recognized Rimuru, he accused Rimuru of seducing his daughter and launched a powerful flame spell. Rimuru was surprised by the spell's complexity and danger, knowing it was military-grade magic. He was puzzled by Errol's sudden aggression and the accusation of seduction, unsure of what Errol meant. When he was about to launch the attack, Ellen running towards him and knocked out. Then Ellen scolded him, revealing she was his daughter. Errol apologized, saying he overreacted to rumors about Rimuru being a demon lord. Gazelle and Errol argued, but things settled down. Ellen introduced Errol to Rimuru, revealing he's an important person from Thalion. Errol wanted to meet Rimuru and see Tempest for himself, so he tested Rimuru with a fire spell, but Shuna saw through it. Errol was impressed by Rimuru's leadership and wanted to join the meeting. Rimuru agreed, hoping it would help them understand each other better. Gaba said the hall was ready, so Rimuru prepared for the summit, knowing it was a crucial moment for Tempest's future. In the hall, everyone waited as Rimuru, the three lycanthropeers, Fuse, King Gazelle, and Archduke Errol took their seats. Shuna introduced the guests, including the Beast Kingdom of Eurazania, Dworgen, Bloomond represented by Fuse, and Thalion represented by Errol. Rimuru hoped the summit would go well, especially with Errol here to judge them. They introduced themselves and Rimuru wanted to introduce Veldora, but when Veldora arrived, chaos ensued. People fainted, others panicked, and the summit had to be paused. There was a lot of commotion when Veldora arrived unexpectedly at the summit. Even though Rimuru knew it might cause trouble, he wanted to introduce Veldora early on. Thankfully, Rimuru's companions had learned to control their auras, but Veldora still had a powerful presence. Gazelle asked for a recess to discuss Veldora's appearance, and Rimuru agreed. In a private conversation with Gazelle and Errol, they talked about what to do about Veldora's return. Errol revealed that he had the authority to decide Thalion's stance on the matter, and Gazelle was concerned about the implications of having Veldora around. Rimuru explained how Veldora came back and suggested being honest about it. Gazelle agreed, but they worried about how the Western Holy Church would react. They decided to inform the public about Veldora's return, knowing they couldn't hide it anyway. Gazelle and Errol discussed their country's positions, with Gazelle promising to remain neutral in any conflicts involving the Western Church. Errol seemed supportive of Rimuru but remained cautious. Rimuru thanked Gazelle and asked Errol why he was being so understanding, to which Errol replied with a cryptic answer. After the chaos settled, Rimuru talked with Gazelle and Errol about Veldora's return and their country's stances. Errol explained that he wanted to assess the situation and ensure secrecy about Rimuru becoming a demon lord. Gazelle agreed to support Rimuru but expressed concerns about the Pharmas incident's aftermath. They decided to fabricate a story to protect their nations from scrutiny. Rimuru appreciated Gazelle's support and readiness to face consequences. Back in the meeting hall, Rimuru tried to lighten the mood, but Fuse and Aelin were upset about not being informed about Voldora. Despite attempts to soothe them, they remained angry. Eventually, they accepted Voldora's presence. After learning Clayman's whereabouts remained unknown and his army posed a concern, Rimuru decided to focus on concluding the summit. He started by summarizing recent events, including meeting Voldora and his past as an otherworlder. Rimuru also detailed his encounters in Inglesia, particularly the fight with Hinata, who posed a significant threat. Fuse defended Hinata's character, while Gazelle and Errol provided insights. Rimuru emphasized Hinata's danger and wished to avoid conflict with the church. Diablo and Shion volunteered to confront Hinata, prompting Rimuru to intervene. In the midst of the tense atmosphere involving Shion, Diablo, and Voldora, caution became the order of the day for Rimuru. Rimuru decided to tread carefully regarding the matters concerning Hinata and the church, suspecting a possible informant among their close associates. With Raphael's assistance, Rimuru contemplated the list of potential suspects, understanding the importance of patience and vigilance in such uncertain circumstances. As Rimuru recounted the attack on their town by Pharmus Otherworlders and their subsequent decision to become a demon lord for protection, Ellen's confession added a new layer of complexity. Despite her father, Errold's attempt to mitigate the situation, Gazel's acknowledgement signaled the continuation of their planned discussion, highlighting the repercussions of Ellen's actions and Rimuru's transformation into a demon lord. After explaining the truth to the group, Rimuru discussed their plan to adjust the story they'd tell the public. The idea was to declare Rimuru as a demon lord without revealing that he had actually awakened as one. This plan relied on framing Pharmus as the aggressor and portraying Voldora as the mastermind behind the battle, thus diverting attention from Rimuru's true power. The group believed this narrative would make Rimuru appear less threatening to other nations while establishing their righteousness. Gazel emphasized the importance of controlling the narrative to prevent fear and misunderstanding. Errold supported the plan, recognizing its benefits for Rimuru's reputation and Tempest's safety. Despite Veldora's misunderstanding, the rest of the government approved of the plan, eager to focus on dealing with Clayman. With the support of his allies, Rimuru prepared for the upcoming challenges, knowing that they would need to wait a bit longer before taking action. With their backstories set, Rimuru needed to decide on their next steps. They planned to release Pharmus King and force him to pay reparations, aiming to sow chaos within Pharmus and support Yom's claim to the throne. They anticipated resistance from the king and his nobility, but they had a strategy to weaken his power and support Yom's rise. Once Yom became king, they would announce new policies to win over the people and solidify his position. Gazel expressed concerns about Yom's suitability for the role, but Yom displayed determination to fulfill his duties. Fuse proposed enlisting support from Blumen's nobles, leveraging his connections and intelligence network. Despite initial doubts, Fuse's plan gained traction, and they agreed to involve Yom in the negotiations. With their strategy taking shape, they prepared to execute their plan to build a new Pharmus and secure alliances. With plans in place for Yom to become king and Pharmus to undergo change, the meeting continued with Fuse's explanation of Blumen's decision to trust in Rimuru. Errold questioned Fuse's trust in Rimuru, suggesting a more cautious approach, but Fuse revealed Blumen's limited options and their belief in Rimuru's power. Despite initial doubts, Errold acknowledged Blumen's intentions and requested formal relations with Rimuru's nation. Rimuru accepted, solidifying a new alliance. With Thalion as their third human ally and plans for Pharmus progressing, Rimuru reflected on the changing map and the swift pace of events. As the summit was wrapping up, Ramirez, a tiny winged girl and one of the world's 10 demon lords, burst in, declaring Tempest's ruin. Despite her claims, Diablo swiftly captured her, much to her dismay. Rimuru explained her identity to the others, but Ramirez's arrogant demeanor and lack of intimidation left the audience unimpressed. She boasted about defeating Voldora, but Rimuru quickly dispelled her illusion by revealing the manga's ending to Voldora, leaving her fainting at the sight of him. With both Ramirez and Voldora dealt with, the summit concluded smoothly. As the meeting wrapped up, Rimuru instructed Benimaru to target Clayman next, which excited him and the other Tempestians. Alvis, Phobio, and Sufia pledged their support, while Gazel expressed trust in Rimuru's judgment, though he felt a bit surprised by Rimuru's growth. Concerns were raised about Clayman's power and connections, but Rimuru remained confident in their team's abilities. They discussed their plans for dealing with Clayman and the church, relying on diplomacy, trade, and alliances to navigate the complex political landscape. Shion's aggressive interrogation tactics yielded valuable information from prisoners, while Fuse proposed diplomatic strategies to handle the church's hostility. Rimuru envisioned a future where Tempest became a thriving trade hub and bloomed a financial superpower, but challenges remained, especially with Hinata's opposition looming. Despite the uncertainties, Rimuru was determined to tackle each problem head-on. At the meeting's end, Rimuru discussed the 3 prisoners they captured: King Edmaris, Archbishop Rahiam, and a survivor of their attack. Uncertain about the survivor's identity, they speculated if he was dangerous. Diablo revealed that the survivor, named Raisin, was a powerful magician who posed no threat. However, there was confusion about his true name, initially thought to be Ramen. Upon learning about Raisin's involvement in the battle, Rimuru suspected he might have taken over the survivor's body. Diablo was tasked with overseeing the prisoners, including Raisin, while Yom handled their imprisonment. Gazel expressed concern about Thalian's request for a highway, but Rimuru negotiated terms to ensure Tempest's benefit. With plans settled, the summit concluded, marking a significant step toward Rimuru's vision of harmony between humans and monsters. Rimuru organized a meeting to discuss their strategy against Clayman. However, they realized that Ramirez was missing and found her engrossed in Manga. Beretta, now a Chaos Golem, thanked Rimuru for its evolution and discussed its new abilities. Rimuru discovered that Beretta had gained the Reverser skill, similar to one of Rimuru's own skills. Ramirez finally paid attention and revealed Clayman's plan to hold a Walpurgis Council, worrying about Tempest's fate. Errol explained that the council could lead to a large-scale war among demon lords, humans, and angels, triggered every 500 years. Ramirez clarified that the council was just a gathering for demon lords to chat and catch up on news, but this time they planned to discuss Rimuru's declaration as a demon lord and recent events in the Forest of Jura. Rimuru, unperturbed, prepared to face the consequences of their actions. Rimuru realized Clayman was framing them for Murren's death and preparing for war. Rimuru suspected Clayman's motives and planned to confront him. When Murren appeared alive, Rimuru knew Clayman was the real culprit. Ramirez supported Rimuru and planned to build a labyrinth entrance, but Rimuru objected. They argued, and the attendees dispersed. Fuse warned Rimuru about the danger of being targeted by demon lords, while Errol and Ellen requested time to talk. Gazel and Errol decided to stay for a few days, forming new alliances with Tempest. Despite Ramirez causing chaos, Rimuru felt accomplished after the summit. After a quick meal, Rimuru gathered everyone for a meeting to discuss countering Clayman's army and preparing for the Walpurgis Council. Ramirez wanted to stay in the town, but Rimuru was hesitant due to her causing trouble. Despite the Dryad's assurance, Rimuru decided to consider it later. The meeting began with So-Ei's report on Clayman's forces, led by Yamza. Although their numbers were significant, Rimuru's forces were stronger in combat ability. However, Benimaru suggested that Clayman might have other targets besides their town, possibly the Beast Kingdom. So-Ei confirmed that Clayman's army was heading there, posing a threat to the refugees and fighters there. Rimuru needed to plan accordingly, considering the possibility of a night march. Geld expressed concern about whether Clayman was aware of their plans, and Murren speculated that Clayman might aim to eliminate the fighters in the Beast Kingdom before attacking their town. It became apparent that Clayman's goal was to gather souls to awaken as a demon lord, likely by wiping out the Beast Kingdom. Rimuru recognized the urgency of stopping Clayman, not only to save the Beastmen but also to protect their own interests. They devised a strategy to defend the Beast Kingdom by coordinating a defense line and organizing their forces. Despite the challenging terrain, they decided to focus on evacuating civilians and using guerrilla tactics to stall Clayman's advance. Rimuru's top leaders, equipped with spatial motion abilities, would assist in transportation. While they couldn't transport entire armies at once, they planned to buy time until reinforcements could arrive. Rimuru learned about the rules of transportation magic, understanding that it could transfer materials at a low cost, but had limitations with organic matter due to magicule irradiation. However, with the protection of a barrier, organic beings could be transported safely. Raphael, Rimuru's companion, had developed a new spell that could transport their entire army at once, greatly reducing the magical force required. Despite the risks, Rimuru's followers expressed their trust and willingness to stake their lives on this new spell. With their confidence, Rimuru prepared to use the spell to counter Clayman's schemes. Meanwhile, they learned about a group called the Dragon Faithful, followers of Milim, who had joined Clayman's force, prompting further investigation. With the battle strategy set, Rimuru and the gang turned their attention to the upcoming Walpurgis Council, where Clayman would be present. Ramirez, Murin, and the three lycanthropeers left to relay the plan to their troops, leaving only the core group behind. Rimuru considered using teleportation magic to reach Clayman's headquarters but faced difficulties due to a thick fog of magicules. Shuna expressed concerns about missing Clayman during the council, prompting discussion on whether to attend or not. Shion suggested crashing the council and attacking the demon lords, but Rimuru emphasized the need for a realistic plan. Despite some reckless suggestions, Benimaru proposed attending the council to investigate Milim's involvement. The conversation turned to Milim's allegiance, with most trusting her but considering Clayman's influence. Ultimately, Rimuru decided to attend the council to gather information. However, Ramirez persisted in her desire for Beretta, causing tension in the group. With plans for the Walpurgis Council in place, Rimuru needed to select 2 attendants to accompany him. Shion was an obvious choice due to her desire for revenge against Clayman, and Ranga was chosen as a capable bodyguard. Despite Veldora's insistence on joining, Rimuru explained the importance of defending the town and convinced him to stay. Ramirez suggested Veldora accompany her instead, hoping to impress the other demon lords. After some discussion, Rimuru agreed, leaving Veldora as a safeguard for the town. Trainee volunteered to join the council, completing the team with Ramirez and Beretta. With the assignments settled, Rimuru focused on Clayman, Leon Cromwell, and the looming threat of Milim, determined to confront them at the council and ensure the safety of his people. Clayman's plan to convene the Walpurgis Council was surprisingly smooth. He framed Carolan's invasion of the Forest of Jura as a breach of their non-aggression pact, with Milim punishing him, setting the stage for the council's discussion. This deception aimed to buy Clayman time to become a true demon lord and gain immense power. To ensure success, he needed his military operation to swiftly punish Carolan and secure evidence to support his claims. Leading a force of 30,000, Clayman's faithful follower, Yamza, entered the beast kingdom of Eurazania to claim souls before the council convened. Midre, the head priest of the Dragon Faithful, was furious with Clayman's forces for imposing themselves on their city without regard. Hermes, a member of the temple priests, tried to reason with him, reminding him of the imperial edict from Milim herself. However, Midre's frustration only grew as he felt disrespected by the invaders. The Dragon Faithful, though small in number, were well organized and strong, with each adult possessing formidable combat skills. The priests, especially Midre and Hermes, were exceptionally skilled and could rival even Milim in battle. Despite their strength, they were being treated poorly by Clayman's forces, who raided their supplies without permission. Midre's patience wore thin as he awaited Milim's return, hoping for some relief from the situation. He lamented Lady Milim's absence and her preference for raw vegetables over cooked meals. Despite his frustration, Midre remained composed when confronted by Yamza, the general commander of Clayman's forces. Yamza demanded their cooperation and conscripted the priests for assistance. Hermes, a priest, couldn't hold back and spoke out, resulting in him getting his arm severed by Yamza. Midre intervened to prevent further conflict, but the priests were now forced to assist Clayman's forces. Despite their anger, they complied to protect their people. The next morning, with tensions high, Clayman's forces continued their march towards their destination. The morning after the summit, Rimuru had been working all night and was feeling tired mentally, although physically he was fine due to not needing much sleep. So EI had contacted him after the conference, reporting on the meeting and sharing information collected by replications. Soka and the team also contributed some leads. The Clayman force hadn't moved yet. They were trying to find a way to deploy their forces effectively, but rescuing the scattered residents of the Beast Kingdom posed a challenge. Rimuru realized that it would be more efficient to transport the citizens to a single location. Using his Dominate Space ability, he transported refugees to a field base built by Geld's army in the former capital of Eurazania. Rimuru then personally transported refugees from various villages, exhausting himself mentally. Phobio accompanied him, marveling at Rimuru's teleportation abilities. Rimuru and Rigard prepared to transport a large group of people to the Beast Kingdom field camp. Upon arrival, they found Tempestian soldiers, including beastmen led by Sufia and Alvis, ready for deployment. Benimaru explained the evolutions and enhancements undergone by their forces, including hobgoblins, ogres, and dragonotes. Rimuru observed the changes and preparations, impressed by the growth of their military strength. The day after the summit, Rimuru saw the impressive sight of 20,000 soldiers, including Sufia and Alvis's beastmen troops, lined up and ready to march. Shion's team Reborn, serving as Rimuru's personal guard, stayed aside while Rigard reported that everything was set for transportation. Rimuru instructed Alvis to relay the plan to the assembled troops and then initiated the transport spell to move everyone to safety. Then Rimuru discussed the operation with Benimaru and Alvis, ensuring they were prepared to face Clayman's forces. The plan involved luring the enemy into the forest of Jura for a decisive battle. With preparations complete, Rimuru executed the transport spell flawlessly, impressing Diablo and Shine with his magic. After the troops departed, Rimuru dealt with Veldora's eagerness for battle and sent Yom and his squad on a mission to spread the news of Veldora's return. Meanwhile, Gazelle departed for the Dwarven Kingdom, and Rimuru focused on addressing any issues that arose as they continued their preparations for Walpurgis. The day of the big meeting arrived without any problems, and Rimuru finished his work before lunch, feeling relieved. Ramirez was impressed by his creation, a special orb, but Rimuru brushed off her praise to focus on his task. After lunch, he headed to the Trient village with Ramirez and Trainee to complete his project. Veldora wanted to join but had to stay behind to protect the town. Rimuru worked on transferring Trainee's essence into a new body, using a special orb and the Dryas tree. Ramirez noticed the powerful insects Apido and Zijin, while Trainee underwent the transformation successfully, becoming the world's first fully mobile dryad. Rimuru crafted a doll-like body for Trainee from the old Dryas tree, enhancing it with a chaos core to increase her power. Trainee's newfound strength surprised everyone, and she joined Ramirez for the journey. With preparations complete, they bid farewell to Trainee's sisters and returned to town just as the night fell, ready for the upcoming battle. Clayman, prepared for the Walpurgis Council, feeling a mix of emotions. His forces failed to find any citizens in the Beast Kingdom, despite warnings, leading to frustration. He ordered a pursuit of refugees, feeling deeply unhappy about missing the opportunity to awaken tonight. However, he received news that the storm dragon Veldora had revived, losing his magicules in the process. Clayman contemplated his options regarding Veldora and focused on the council. Ramirez's request to invite Rimuru to the council caught him off guard, but he saw it as an opportunity to expose Rimuru's true nature. Despite his confidence, a sense of unease lingered as he brushed it off and continued his plans, oblivious to potential inconsistencies on the battlefield. Frey felt a heavy weight as she prepared for the council, unsure how things would unfold after her promise to Clayman. Remembering the events leading up to this moment, she recalled how Milim was ensnared by a forbidden spell disguised as a gift, leaving her under Clayman's control. Reflecting on her past actions, Frey realized she had become a pawn in Clayman's schemes, forced to follow his orders. Despite feeling foolish for trusting him, she also recognized Clayman's tendency to overestimate his own power. Trusting her instincts, she made a bet against him, knowing that his downfall might be imminent. As she braced herself for what was to come, she couldn't help but smile at the prospect of Clayman's eventual demise. In a freezing land of ice and snow stood Icefair Castle, home to the demon lord Guy Crimson. Walking through its halls was Leon Cromwell, known as the Platinum Devil, heading to meet Guy. As he entered the audience chamber, he was greeted by powerful demons lining the way, led by Misery and Rain, two formidable demon peers. Guy, with his striking appearance and charismatic aura, welcomed Leon warmly, though Leon rebuffed his advances as usual. They then moved to a different location, with Guy's seductive charm leaving a lasting impression on Leon. Guy Crimson, the oldest and strongest demon lord, ruled his castle with absolute authority. As he walked with Leon Cromwell, their powerful presence commanded respect from all the demons in the audience chamber. Once they left, Misery and Rain ordered the demons to disperse. Leon followed Guy to the Ice Terrace, where they discussed the upcoming Walpurgis Council. Guy revealed that Milim's involvement raised suspicions, and Leon agreed to participate, despite his dislike for cooperation. Their conversation turned to Rimuru, a potential new demon lord, and Ramirez's interest in him. Although they joked about their dislike for Ramirez, they both recognized her influence. In the end, they understood that challenging each other would only lead to trouble in their powerful alliance. Leon didn't harbor any real malice towards Ramirez, knowing well he couldn't match Guy's strength. As they conversed, Velzard, the ice dragon, interrupted, showing interest in Veldora's reported resurrection. Leon, Guy, and Velzard discussed the possibility of someone undoing Veldora's seal, speculating it might be Rimuru, the potential new demon lord. Guy found the idea thrilling, envisioning a powerful adversary. They pondered why Veldora seemed subdued, suspecting he had been weakened. Leon, uninterested in Veldora's affairs, focused on his own experiments, facing interference from Rimuru, who had saved children targeted for summoning. Guy suggested eliminating Rimuru, but Leon knew it wouldn't be easy, considering Rimuru's recent heroic actions. Leon couldn't believe it was mere coincidence, and he expressed his desire to meet Rimuru personally. Ramirez's interference in matters involving Rimuru piqued Guy's curiosity, suggesting milim might be thinking similarly. As they anticipated a lively Walpurgis, Guy inquired about Leon's informant, a human merchant facilitating his summoning experiments. Despite Guy's concern for Leon's safety, Leon remained focused on his goals, prioritizing them above all else. Velzard observed Leon's openness to potential danger, prompting Guy to reflect on his trust in Leon's judgment. Meanwhile, preparations for the upcoming Walpurgis proceeded, with attendees including Clayman Frey, Milim, and the elusive Dagrel. Guy anticipated the event's chaos, believing it heralded a new era of true demon lords, free from the influence of weaker contenders. As he set off, Guy reveled in the prospect of the unfolding events. Now with a three-person team heading to Clayman's base, Rimuru took a moment to ask Veldora about demon lords. Veldora shared stories about past encounters, mentioning rivals like Valentine, Dagrol, and the Demon King ruling over a frigid castle. Ramirez added some insights, noting Guy, Milim, and herself as the oldest demon lords. As they prepared to depart, a gate appeared, revealing Maiziri, a high-level demon servant. Ramirez greeted her casually, revealing Maiziri's affiliation with Guy, showcasing his power. Rimuru pondered over Maiziri's role and the arrogance of demon lords, feeling confident as they crossed through the gate to face the world's rulers. In the battlefield, Benimaru grinned as he watched the battle unfold below, everything falling into place as planned. He had full control over his armies, and the enemy fell right into their traps. Alvis joined him, acknowledging the impending victory. Benimaru appointed her as his aide, officially making him the supreme leader of the combined force. Sufia and Fobio also expressed their desire to join the battle, wanting a piece of the action. Benimaru agreed, but warned them to retreat if things got risky. As they discussed the fate of prisoners, Benimaru revealed Rimuru's generous nature and plans for their labor. Alvis and her companions were shocked by Rimuru's confidence and strategic foresight. The battle commenced as planned, with Benimaru's team executing their strategy flawlessly. They trapped the enemy forces and began taking down their leaders, securing victory with ease. Benimaru ordered Alvis and the others to pursue the enemy leaders while he focused on his own tasks. With their victory assured, they eagerly sprang into action. Sufia zoomed through the air using Skywalk, aiming for a group of priests led by Midre, the strongest foes on the enemy side. Gabel and his team followed her, ready to lend support. Sufia explained their target, and Gabel rallied his troops. Meanwhile, Midre regretted being stationed at the rear and wished to fight on the front lines to avoid Melim's ridicule. However, their large force was now in trouble due to the enemy's superior strategy. Hermes tried to reason with Midre, who finally acknowledged the danger they faced and prepared for battle, making the rear of Clayman's forces the site of the fiercest conflict of the day. Fobio dashed silently towards a group hidden in the shadows behind the battlefield, where he confronted Footman and Tyr, members of the moderate jesters observing the battle by Clayman's request. Despite their taunts, Fobio remained focused on seeking payback for their past deception. As the tension rose, Footman and Tyr summoned a powerful ally, an orc general, to assist them. Recognizing the danger, Geld arrived to aid Fobio, acknowledging the need for their combined strength against the formidable duo. With Geld's support, Fobio faced the challenge head-on, determined to secure victory even if it meant putting aside his pride. Thus, a fierce battle ensued between the two duos in the shadow of a small hill away from the main battlefield. Yamza was baffled by the reports from the battlefield, realizing his advantage was just an enemy trap. Desperate to salvage the situation, he considered calling upon Adelman for help, the strongest among Clayman's inner circle. However, Adelman's lack of intellect posed a challenge. Meanwhile, the unexpected appearance of a powerful woman leading Carolon's forces further complicated matters for Yamza. As panic set in, Yamza's attempt to flee was thwarted by Alvis, who swiftly neutralized his forces. Realizing escape was futile, Yamza prepared for a final stand, knowing Clayman would show no mercy to a failed servant. In a risky move, Yamza attempted to duel Alvis, but his plans were disrupted by the intervention of Gabba and the Unified, who managed to fend off Yamza's attacks. Despite his defeat, Gabba cleverly avoided direct confrontation, much to his relief, as Alvis allowed him to withdraw from the fight unscathed, sparing him from a battle he couldn't win. At the back of the group, the priests led by Midre were fighting against Gabel's team Hiryu, with many fighters lying on the ground. Midre, unharmed, effortlessly dealt with Sufia's attacks, showing his superior strength. Despite her humiliation, Sufia couldn't deny his power. Learning that Midray was part of the Dragon Faithful, Sufia realized their exceptional strength and dedication to fighting. As they prepared to face Midray together, Gabble expressed doubt, but Sufia acknowledged Midray's strength and determination to become stronger. They decided to confront Midray together, recognizing him as a formidable opponent. In the fierce battle between Alvis and Yamza revealed his secret weapon, a bracelet that created a perfect copy of himself. But Alvis, showing her true animalized form, easily overwhelmed them both, leaving Yamza desperate. Attempting to surrender, Yamza was then controlled by Clayman, who forced him to consume a part of Charybdis, a powerful creature. This caused Yamza to transform into a monstrous being, wreaking havoc on the battlefield before meeting its own destruction, revealing Clayman's sinister plan. Alvis struggled against the powerful monster Charybdis, realizing that her attacks were ineffective against its constant regeneration. Desperate to protect her allies from its devastating abilities, she attempted to signal Benimaru for help. Unexpectedly, Benimaru arrived and effortlessly defeated Charybdis with his immense power. Recognizing Benimaru's strength, Alvis accepted her new role as his aide, knowing there were pressing matters to attend to. With Charybdis vanquished, the immediate threat was eliminated, and Alvis prepared to fulfill her new responsibilities under Benimaru's command. Footman and Tyr gloated over their victory as they left behind a heavily injured Phobio who was supported by Geld. Despite Phobio's attempts to stand against them, he and Geld were overwhelmed by Footman's powerful magic attacks. Phobio's wounds, although healing rapidly, couldn't withstand the onslaught. Realizing their defeat, Geld and Phobio could only watch as Footman and Tyr vanished. Reflecting on their loss, Geld acknowledged that there's always someone stronger and appreciated Phobio's efforts. Although they lost the battle, they were grateful to be alive, hoping to win next time. Meanwhile, Benimaru assessed the situation, knowing the Jester's escape was a mistake on their part. Geld admired Benimaru's strategic approach, recognizing his growth and dedication to overall victory. Despite their defeat, Geld trusted Benimaru's leadership and vowed to win in the future. Gable and Sufia struggled against Midray's attacks, while Hermes observed the situation. Recognizing the threat of Charybdis, Midray ordered his forces to use healing magic and prepare for a potential disaster. Although they believed Charybdis had been destroyed by Milim, they soon realized it had resurfaced, using Yamza as a substitute core. As Midray analyzed the situation, Benimaru intervened and swiftly defeated Charybdis. Confused by Benimaru's power, Gable and Sufia sought an explanation, but before they could receive one, Benimaru confronted Midray. After clarifying the misunderstanding, they decided not to engage in combat, opting instead to compare their powers without hostility. Hermes and Gable urged caution to avoid angering Milim, and Benimaru agreed to avoid unnecessary conflict. With this resolution, the battle in Orbic ended, securing a near-total victory for the unified forces. At midnight, Shuna, Soei, and Hakuro embarked on a mission to locate Clayman's headquarters hidden within mist-covered wetlands. The mist hindered their magic sense, forcing them to rely on their five senses. Soei explained that the enemy likely used this mist to conceal their activities. Although Hakuro and Soei could hide with Covert Agent, Shuna relied on her healing abilities and an original magic spell. To maintain communication in the fog, Soei provided sticky steel thread bracelets, allowing them to stay in touch. With preparations complete, they set out cautiously into the misty swamp. After walking for a while, Shuna sensed something was wrong and realized they had fallen into a trap. Suddenly, they were surrounded by enemies that had been hidden by the mist. Soei and Hakuro were shocked by the ambush and tried to understand how the enemies had remained hidden. Shuna explained that the mist was part of a trap, attracting intruders to a specific location. As they prepared to face their foe, Adelman, an undead king, emerged with a legion of undead. Shuna, Hakuro, and Soei knew they had to defeat Adelman to escape. Soei confronted a death dragon while Hakuro battled a death knight. Shuna urged Soei to focus on the dragon while she took on Adelman. Left alone to face Adelman, Shuna stood her ground without hesitation. Despite Adelman's taunts, she remained resolute, knowing she had to defeat him to break the defense system. Adelman, bound by his orders, found solace in their conversation as it was the only freedom he had. Shuna, using her unique skills, created a holy barrier to protect herself and confronted Adelman with determination. She proposed to spare his life if he stayed out of her way, but Adelman knew he couldn't break free from his bindings and accepted their inevitable battle. As their intense magical duel unfolded, Shuna's analytical skills and quick thinking allowed her to counter Adelman's spells effectively, showcasing her powers in combat. Shuna countered Adelman's necromancy with holy magic, surprising him with her ability to wield such power. She explained that faith, not race, was the key to using holy magic, leaving Adelman reeling with the realization that he had lost his faith in Luminous long ago. Reflecting on his past, he understood how he had been misled and betrayed, driving him to cast a desperate spell. However, Shuna, seeing through his intentions, used her own magic to disrupt his spellcasting. Adelman, recognizing Shuna's strength, acknowledged her victory and unleashed a powerful holy spell to cleanse the land, sacrificing himself in the process to free the cursed souls bound to the area. Shuna, anticipating his move, intervened and guided the spell to purify the land, ending the battle. After their victory, Hakuro and Soei joined Shuna, expressing their gratitude for her decisive actions in the battle. As the land was cleansed, the formidable Death Knight weakened and the menacing Death Dragon vanished. Despite their triumph, they reflected on their mistakes and acknowledged the need for caution in battle. With Clayman's stronghold now under their control, they swiftly dealt with the non-combatants within, securing the castle without much resistance. However, their victory was interrupted by the unexpected reappearance of Adelman, who sought a new deity to worship after losing faith in Luminous. Though taken aback, Shuna agreed to arrange an audience with Rimuru, hoping to dissuade Adelman from his misguided beliefs. With Adelman and his undead followers under her command, Shuna now prepared to face the next challenge in their quest against Clayman. The meeting hall had an intricately designed door leading inside, where a round table with 12 chairs awaited, 2 of which remained empty. Guy, a captivating figure with red hair, sat across from Rimuru, emitting an unsettling aura despite his seemingly innocent appearance. Observing him closely, Rimuru sensed trouble brewing, as Guy seemed adept at concealing his true power and intentions, making him a formidable adversary. As Dagrel, the imposing demon lord giant, and Valentine, the charming vampire, entered the room, Rimuru noted their respective strengths and the aura of mystery surrounding Valentine's companion, a silver-haired girl with mismatched eyes. Speculating on her identity and potential power, Rimuru remained cautious, aware of the dangers lurking within the group of demon lords gathered at the table. Finally, the arrival of the fifth attendee, a lethargic swordsman, added to the intrigue of the meeting. As Rimuru observed his lackadaisical demeanor and minimal weaponry, as Dino greeted Ramirez and engaged in playful banter, Rimuru observed their interactions, noting Dino's casual demeanor and Ramirez's boastfulness about her companions, Beretta and Trainee. Despite Ramirez's claims, Rimuru recognized the strength of her attendance, which he himself had enhanced. As Dino took his seat beside Valentine, Rimuru observed his nonchalant attitude and speculated about his abilities, wary of underestimating him. The entrance of Frey, the Harpy Empress, drew Rimuru's attention, her voluptuous appearance and alluring scent captivating him momentarily before he refocused on assessing her magical prowess and the capabilities of her attendants. However, Rimuru's attention shifted when Leon, a former human-turned-demon lord, approached him, evoking memories of Shizu. Their conversation revealed Leon's calm demeanor and hinted at a potential confrontation in the future, but for now, Rimuru remained focused on Clayman as his primary adversary. After reaching the meeting hall at midnight, the older demon lords arrived first, except for Leon, who could travel independently. With Clayman and milim left to join, just as the council seemed about to start, Benimaru contacted Rimuru through a soul circuit established with their monsters. Benimaru briefed Rimuru on the battle's outcome, revealing a lopsided victory with Clayman's forces suffering heavy casualties. Notably, Benimaru managed to defeat Charybdis using unique skills, though Rimuru wondered about dealing with its magic interference. They also learned about the unexpected strength of Milim's Dragon Faithful. With Clayman's plans thwarted, Rimuru aimed to secure victory at the council and received reports of capturing Clayman's headquarters and uncovering evidence against him. Despite concerns about pillaging Clayman's treasure, Rimuru focused on using the evidence to his advantage as Clayman finally appeared before him. All the powerful beings gathered at the meeting hall, each capable of causing harm in an instant. Rimuru couldn't analyze Leon with Raphael's help, realizing that Leon possessed an ultimate skill like himself. Rimuru suspected that Guy deceived him by feeding false information to avoid being analyzed. This made Rimuru cautious, knowing that Guy and others might possess ultimate skills. Rimuru decided to reveal one of his ultimate skills, Belzebuth, as his main weapon for battle. Meanwhile, Clayman unexpectedly punched milim, who obeyed him without resistance. Rimuru vowed to seek revenge on Clayman for hurting his friend. The council, attended by 9 individuals including Rimuru, officially commenced, signaling the start of potential world-changing events. Clayman, as the chairman, began with a long speech full of accusations against Rimuru and others. Rimuru patiently listened to Clayman's claims, which were mostly based on false testimony. Clayman accused Rimuru of plotting against him and attempting to kill him, but Rimuru countered with evidence proving otherwise. Rimuru then revealed crystal balls containing video evidence of Clayman's schemes, shocking everyone present. As tensions rose, Rimuru challenged Clayman to a battle to settle the matter. Guy, another demon lord, intervened, proposing that Rimuru and Clayman fight to determine Rimuru's status as a demon lord. With this unexpected turn of events, the stage was set for a decisive confrontation. Clayman, having regained his confidence, called upon milim to join the fight against Rimuru. Despite Rimuru's attempts to provoke Clayman, milim seemed under Clayman's control, which worried Rimuru. Clayman and milim threatened Rimuru, but Rimuru vowed to rescue milim and challenged Clayman. Shion, acting on Rimuru's signal, attacked Clayman, catching him off guard. However, Clayman quickly recovered and summoned powerful allies, outnumbering Rimuru's group. Rimuru struggled to avoid milim's attacks while trying to break her mind control. Meanwhile, Shion faced off against Clayman and another foe, while Ranga fought 9 Head. With the odds stacked against them, Rimuru could only hope to survive long enough to analyze milim and devise a strategy. Ramirez asked Guy if Beretta could join the fight, but Guy refused, stating that only demon lords could battle. Ramirez argued that since milim was involved, Beretta should be allowed too, but Guy disagreed. He pointed out that Beretta's loyalty wasn't solely to Ramirez, causing hesitation. Beretta admitted its loyalty to both Rimuru and Ramirez, wanting to protect them both. Despite Guy's skepticism, Ramirez vouched for Beretta, emphasizing their friendship. Eventually, Guy relented, allowing Beretta to join the fight under the condition that it only recognizes Ramirez as its master from then on. Beretta thanked Guy, who reluctantly accepted its decision. Guy questioned Beretta about its loyalty, warning it of consequences if it tried to evade the question. Surprisingly, Beretta immediately pledged its loyalty to Ramirez and expressed a desire to serve Rimuru at least once. Guy found Beretta's willingness to prioritize Ramirez over strength unusual, as demons typically sought recognition for their power. Beretta explained that it enjoyed conducting research with Ramirez and considered serving her a dream, emphasizing that it was fulfilling Rimuru's request. Guy pondered Beretta's lineage, realizing it belonged to a small and unique family of demons known for their self-centered and curious nature. Despite Beretta's acknowledgement of stronger creatures, Guy didn't consider Shion and Ranga, who were engaged in battle, as the epitome of strength. Guy permitted Beretta to join the battle, acknowledging its desire to serve Rimuru and understanding the significance of the opportunity. As Beretta left through the opening in the barrier, Guy smiled, recognizing an old friend in its actions. He speculated that Beretta's allegiance indicated something intriguing about Rimuru, the slime-facing milim. Pondering the outcome of the battle, Guy felt joy and curiosity, resolving to remember Rimuru's name. Things were getting tough. Rimuru found milim to be a formidable opponent, but their allies were holding their own. Ranga summoned some strong allies, making it 3 versus 3. Although 9 Head had lots of magic power, Ranga was outsmarting them. They summoned tricky creatures, a white monkey and a moon rabbit, but Ranga saw through their plan. Meanwhile, Shion faced Clayman's powerful creation, Viola. She could heal instantly thanks to her special power, but she was getting angrier by the minute. Then Beretta joined the fight, ready to help. Shion got even more fired up, and they were back on track with their plan. Rimuru found themselves in a tight spot against milim. They tried everything to break her curse, but nothing worked. Still, they kept fighting, focusing on defending themselves and waiting for Shion and the others to defeat Clayman. milim's attacks were fierce, but Rimuru managed to hold their ground by using Beelzebub to absorb her energy. Despite the danger, Rimuru kept their cool and analyzed milim's moves to defend themselves. However, just when it seemed like they were about to get hit, Veldora unexpectedly intervened, distracting milim. Rimuru seized the opportunity to talk to Veldora and struck a deal with him, asking him to play with milim while they dealt with Clayman. With a plan in motion, Rimuru felt hopeful about defeating Clayman and ending the conflict for good. After dealing with milim and Veldora, Rimuru checked on Ranga, who was in the midst of a tough battle against 9 Head and its minions. They quickly discovered that 9 Head was under a curse by Clayman, which Rimuru promptly removed. Ranga then took care of the exhausted cub while Rimuru moved on to Beretta, who had dismantled Viola and presented the spoils to them. Rimuru questioned Beretta's intentions, realizing that it was trying to secure a place for itself and Ramirez to live in their town. Beretta's explanation seemed flimsy, but Rimuru decided to think it over. Finally, Rimuru approached Shion, whose confrontation was nearing its climax. Clayman gasped for breath, feeling defeated as he faced off against Shion, who had proven her strength. Even though it seemed like a fierce battle, Shion had the upper hand because of her incredible ability to regenerate quickly. While they seemed evenly matched, Clayman was visibly getting tired, unlike Shion. When Clayman summoned 5 powerful puppets to attack her, Shion effortlessly destroyed them with her greatsword. Clayman tried to curse her with his marionette dance, but Shion's unique abilities made her immune. Despite Clayman's panic and attempts to control her, Shion remained calm, eventually breaking free from his hold. Clayman then revealed his true form, the crazed clown, and prepared to fight Shion with renewed fury. Clayman revealed his true form, unleashing all his Demon Lord-level power against Shion. With multiple arms and powerful attacks, he tried to overpower her, but Shion's incredible skills and strength allowed her to easily counter his moves. Using her unique abilities and sword techniques, Shion swiftly disarmed and defeated Clayman. Even with his desperate attempts, Clayman couldn't match Shion's power. Meanwhile, Milim surprised everyone by revealing that she wasn't under anyone's control and had doubts about Clayman all along. As Clayman's defeat became imminent, he desperately tried to manipulate Milim into attacking, but she refused, revealing his true intentions. With Clayman exposed and his allies turning against him, Shion swiftly ended the battle by delivering a decisive blow, defeating Clayman once and for all. Clayman's defeat was certain. Carolon's survival and the testimonies of everyone present seemed to ensure that I could avoid being seen as an enemy of the Demon Lords. Clayman, barely clinging to life, spilled everything before them, losing all trust and support. As the barrier vanished, Frey approached Milim, expressing her doubts and gratitude, handing her the dragon knuckle. Milim happily accepted it, revealing her deception and resistance against Clayman's control. Clayman, still in disbelief, confronted Milim, who explained her act and refusal to be controlled. Meanwhile, Carolon questioned Milim about his nation's destruction, leading to a tense exchange. Eventually, Carolon accepted help from us to rebuild his nation, forming an alliance. My promises surprised many, including the Demon Lords, while Frey expressed her anger towards Clayman, showing no interest in saving him. As Clayman faced consequences for his actions, the Demon Lords prepared to deliver the final blow to end his chapter. Feeling weak and regretful, Clayman remembered the advice of Laplace, Tyr, and Footman, realizing he had let his desire for power blind him. He acknowledged his mistake in trusting Milim and not relying on his friend's support. Remembering his past encounter with a mysterious patron, he understood his errors in ambition and allegiance. Despite his defeat, Clayman wished for power to change his fate, and surprisingly his wish was granted. With newfound resolve, he planned to report back to the mysterious boy who offered him power, knowing he needed a better strategy to confront the powerful demon lords like Guy and Milim. He aimed to escape the chamber and plot his next move, hoping to take down a few demon lords along the way. Among the onlooking demon lords, Rimuru was the first to notice Clayman's awakening and swiftly warned Shion to stay back. As Clayman gathered immense magical energy, Rimuru calmly assessed the situation, though internally he was unsure about the outcome. Recalling Raphael's plan, Rimuru intended to use Beelzebub to absorb the energy released by Clayman's awakening. Despite concerns, Rimuru believed in his ability to defeat an awakened Clayman and demonstrate his strength to the other demon lords. With determination, Rimuru confronted Clayman, who launched a powerful blast of magic at him, anticipating his response. Rimuru swiftly nullified Clayman's powerful attack using Beelzebub, causing Clayman's plans to crumble. Erecting a barrier around them, Rimuru prepared to consume Clayman with confidence, determined to extract information about Clayman's master. Despite Clayman's desperate attempts, Rimuru saw through his tactics, realizing Clayman's true intentions to preserve his astral body. With the Demon Lord's approval, Rimuru executed Clayman, absorbing his essence and resolving to uncover more about Clayman's connections in the future. As Clayman pleaded for mercy, Rimuru remained resolute, ensuring that Clayman's villainous deeds would not harm others any longer. In the end, Clayman's cries were silenced as he was consumed by Beelzebub, leaving Rimuru to reflect on the nature of regret. After Rimuru consumed Clayman, Guy acknowledged Rimuru's newfound status as a demon lord, which was accepted by everyone present except for Valentine, who expressed disdain for Rimuru's origins. Voldora intervened, revealing Miles as the true demon Lord Valentine, leading to a tense confrontation. Miles transformed into her true form and instructed her servant, Roy, to return home and reinforce security due to Clayman's potential involvement in previous attacks on her domain. Roy complied without hesitation, highlighting Valentine's authority and Roy's subservient role. Rimuru retrieved the round table from his stomach and restored it, relieved that he had stored it safely before any potential battle. The demon lords resumed their seats, while Guy's maids served tea. Leon casually mentioned having killed a demon lord named Kazalim, surprising Rimuru and others who seemed unaware of the significance. Caroline explained that Kazalim was the Cursed Lord and had recommended him for his current position. Rimuru recalled Clayman mentioning Kazalim's name and speculated about their connection. Leon admitted defeating Kazalim to take his position and seemed indifferent to his fate. Rimuru considered the possibility of Kazalim still being alive and scheming, prompting caution among the demon lords. Guy suggested that Kazalim's survival would be remarkable and hinted at the involvement of others in his potential resurrection. Despite their recent victory over Clayman, Rimuru emphasized the need for vigilance against potential retaliation and the importance of protecting their allies. After some more talking, Guy took over the council meeting in place of the absent member and asked if anyone had something to share. Frey then surprised everyone by announcing her decision to serve Milim and resign from her position as a demon lord. This caught everyone off guard, prompting questions and surprise from the others. Frey explained that she had been thinking about it for a while and felt it was the right choice, although she didn't mention it earlier. Frey remembered a talk she had with Milim that convinced her to trust her completely. Milim asked Frey if she wanted to be friends, and Frey agreed, cautious but hopeful. They promised to help each other out if needed, and Frey decided to put her trust in Milim, despite her doubts about Clayman. She knew it was a risk, but she believed in Milim's sincerity, even if there was a chance her mind was being controlled by Clayman. This decision marked a significant change for Frey, who had never trusted anyone before. She believed Milim needed guidance and support, not just for herself but for the good of everyone. Caroline also decided to step down, feeling defeated after losing to Milim before. They both pledged to join Milim's faction, much to the surprise of everyone else. Milim was hesitant at first, but Frey reassured her they would have even more fun together. However, when Caroline mentioned his destroyed country, Milim became overwhelmed and agreed to their requests. Guy, while disappointed, accepted their decision, officially stripping them of their titles as demon lords. With this, the council ended, leaving Rimuru now officially recognized as a demon lord, while 2 others chose to serve under Milim, reducing the 10 great demon lords to 8. As the council neared its end, a surprising issue popped up: what to call themselves now that they were no longer the 10 great demon lords. Despite Rimuru's casual observation, the demon lords took it seriously, feeling the need to maintain their dignity. They discussed possible names, with some reminiscing about past struggles over naming. Eventually, they settled on the 8 great demon lords after Rimuru proposed it, despite initial resistance. However, Rimuru felt pressured to come up with a name due to Guy's insistence, feeling somewhat bullied into the role. After settling on the name, the demon lords praised Rimuru's suggestion, feeling relieved that the task was finally over. Despite some lingering questions and doubts, they embraced their new title and prepared to be feared and revered under it. The group became known as the Octagram, comprised of 8 powerful individuals with distinct titles. They divvied up territories to govern, with Milim acquiring a substantial domain that included lands previously controlled by others. Clayman's former territory, now under Milim's rule, required careful oversight due to its proximity to the Eastern Empire. Meanwhile, the other demon lords either maintained their territories or roamed freely, staying connected through magical rings enabling communication across dimensions. With the chaos caused by Clayman resolved, the group welcomed a new member, Rimuru, as a recognized demon lord, somewhere far. Laplace dashed with all his might, fearing for his life as he attempted to breach the holy domain as planned during the Walpurgis Council. However, instead of encountering the demon lord he sought, he ran into Hinata Sakaguchi, leader of the church's paladin forces. Frustrated by his absent client's failure to lure Hinata away, Laplace cursed his luck but fled to safety upon hearing Hinata's intimidating voice. Despite his failed mission, Laplace couldn't shake the feeling of being constantly on the run lately. Soon after, he sensed a surge of magical energy and encountered Valentine, who revealed Clayman's death and attempted to attack Laplace. However, Laplace surprised Valentine by revealing he held his core in his hand, ultimately defeating him and reflecting on Clayman's demise with a mix of amusement and vindication.
That's it for today, guys, and thank for watching the video. Stay tuned for next chapter. Until then, goodbye.